Test.
They're on my head, Janet. I did that at work the other day and they were on my face. Yeah, I'm pretty good about keeping up with my phone. Uh-huh. Hey, my daughter does that. I said, quit putting it on vibrate. Will Janet be able to go to the banquet on Friday? I mean, Jennifer?
Tomorrow is her last day
Oh,
of
good.
quarantine,
Good,
so I
good.
talked to her.
How's she feeling?
She said she's feeling a lot better.
Oh, good.
She was feeling pretty rough yesterday, but she said she's feeling a lot better.
Good, good.
Debbie, are you still short-handed?
Well, I have been.
Call this meeting to order of the Tourism and Economic Development Authority. Would you like to lead us in the flag salute?
I certainly would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we ask you to cover everybody in this room and their families. Heavenly Father, just keep your help over them. We plead the blood of Jesus Christ over them. Heavenly Father, just lead and direct us and guide in this meeting today. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen.
Everybody say amen.
What? No, it's fine.
All right.
We get to use our iPads. No, we don't.
Roll call.
Call roll.
Trustee Anthony here. Trustee Calhoun.
Here.
Trustee Cross. Trustee Shattuck.
Here.
Trustee Thorpe.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Chairman Shear.
Yes. All right. Minutes of November 30th and the December 15th meeting. Discussion on it.
Do we need those one at a time, Penny?
Oh, okay.
I'm asking.
It's-
Do we need
it's
to do it
better.
one at a time?
November 30th meeting, regular meeting.
Motion made to accept minutes.
Question
No, but they were sitting there.
on one of the,
Shields too.
number 6, I believe it is. It said, motion was made by trustee Calhoun and seconded by trustee Thorpe to table the item until and what I said was, until the next regular meeting, and we could have a more detailed contract with help of the lawyer. And that didn't get in the minutes, and that's what should be in the minutes.
I remember you saying that.
It does say to table the item until a more detailed contract could be drafted by the lawyer.
The only thing it doesn't have in there is until the next regular meeting. And and we got into a discussion about that.
I certainly don't have a recorder here, but we do have a YouTube channel that we can go back and check that on.
Okay.
So, do we need to add that to it? I'll make the motion to amend it with that change.
I don't think it would change anything, because we didn't have the regular meeting.
So do you not want to accept this?
I don't think we can, because of the legality that's spelled out in the, Open Meeting Act, Oklahoma Open Meeting Act.
We didn't have a request to ask the attorney to be here today.
So, may I ask okay, Charlie, what should we have done? Or per the,
Well, there's two things we should have done. The agenda for the meeting whose minutes that we're talking about right now, the November 30th meeting.
okay,
The agenda item, number 6, was not properly constructed for the agenda. It didn't really say anything. Didn't have any specificity at all. In other words, a citizen could go up to where we post the agenda, and, that's another thing I noticed when I was looking in the act. We're supposed to be posting the agenda on our website. And when I pull it up, I'm not getting it. Maybe I'm not, are we putting it on there?
Yes.
Well, I'm not getting it when I pull it up. I go to Discover Durant, and it shows a place for it, but it says there was none in it. Now, I'll admit that my grandchildren know more about the computer than I do, but I think I can do that one.
I'm pulling it up right now, let's see. They were all posted on there at one time, because I went on there to look up some things, to see what was on there. Well, mine's not even pulling up the website. Here it comes. It's just a little slow.
Anyhow, if we
But
are,
it
good.
did follow state statutes though, because it was posted. It was posted here, I believe, on Thursday
Well, it's
afternoon.
supposed to be posted on the,
Not by state statute,
yes,
that's by
the-
choice.
by the Open Meeting Act. The legislature passed that when they were making changes for the, being able to have meetings over the, internet.
I'm not able to bring up the 2021 Dteda meetings at all.
Agendas and minutes, 22, 21.
Yes, and I'm bringing it up and it's not doing it. There's nothing there.
It is here. Yeah, it's here. It's pulling up right now.
Underneath it,
The one discrepancy I noticed is that the one for 22, should have 22 is not, it's posted in 21. But that's
Yeah,
the packet.
that's the one. It's pulling up right now on
you're
mine.
talking like this right here where it says agenda
Yeah,
and minutes. I'm putting up to 2021, it's not going.
That
Look
might
at
be
the
your
very-
carrier, like I'm in the same,
See?
I'm in the same. And then when it scroll down, it might be down towards the bottom,
Yeah,
There we
there
go.
it is.
Okay, done.
then push agenda, and then that should download the same packet. But that should be under 22 and not 21.
On mine, it didn't even come up.
It's underneath 20, it should be 2021 on the meetings.
But the agenda for this meeting, would that have gone in 22?
Sure.
Yeah, that's the one, that one's in 21.
Yeah. If yours is a better phone than mine, I'll trade you.
Well, and mine,
I think it's the user.
Does it show the meeting,
Not gonna do
in
this.
November of 21? The agenda that would have been posted prior to that meeting,
Or, I'm sorry, for which date?
the November
November.
30th
November.
Uh-huh.
of 2021.
they were all on
Yeah.
there when I pulled
It's
them
there.
up.
Well, you said something, I didn't get anything.
Sorry, it's loading the document. It's not gonna let me zoom in on it until it loads it, but that's,
Oh, okay. Well, I can't read it with that.
I'll show you where that, just so you can see where the header is, because it's downloading the entire packet, but that was a meeting notice with the link to the agenda, under 21 for meeting agenda.
See, I couldn't get any meeting to pull up. So,
There might be, if you hit the meeting, like, the intuitive thing is another page is gonna load, you have to scroll down to the bottom for all the agendas, and that might have been on a phone where there was just limited space.
well, I wasn't on the phone, I was on the pad.
Okay, gotcha. I without seeing it, I couldn't show you, but they're there and able to be downloaded and viewed.
Because sometimes a search engine might not allow it, because sometimes at work I have to
Yeah.
switch
Sure.
search
There's
engines.
several things that,
Well, and
Might
Data
stop you from
limitations,
getting
your
it.
device you're on may have a data limit. but
Right.
You can't download the whole packet or something like that.
I noticed another thing, of course, it's personal to me, where it was showing the different motels in town, they
Mhm.
show ours.
it does, it has all of them on there. Jeremy, would you pull that up again and go to the places to stay?
Sure.
Now, I am going to the right place when I go to,
Places to stay.
I'm talking about going to the website,
Sure. You just go to,
DiscoverTorrent.com.
that's what
Uh-huh.
I'm going to.
Yeah, yeah. But this is the website.
Well, I don't know why,
you can even go to Discover Durant and it's gonna pick it up too.
but I was on my pad, I wasn't on the phone, which shouldn't make any difference.
It shouldn't have made any difference. It shouldn't. Now, there are times when it's being worked on, that they will take things up and put things back in. But I've never had it not pull up with those.
Well, that's the problem I had with mine, I don't know what else I can do.
Charlie, if you'll just, when that happens, if you will contact us, we'll see if there's any problem with the website and make sure that it is up and running at that time. If you'll just let us know that, we'll be glad to check it out.
Okay. But anyhow, back to the question I had before the vote. We didn't have even with what he shows as being posted, and I don't question the fact that it was posted on time. And, but I was looking at the different things that we're supposed to do for the agenda, and one is it's supposed to be written in such a way that a 7th or 8th grader reading level can understand exactly what's going on and how much public money is gonna be spent. And what I was reading, they had several different, lawsuits that they were questioning from, along with the Attorney General's opinions. And the lawsuit had taken it was a school board and somewhere else here in Oklahoma. And they had posted on their agenda, they were gonna look into hiring a superintendent of schools and a principal and some other teacher. And that's all they said on their agenda, but when it came to the meeting and they got to it, they ended up hiring a superintendent. They didn't have how much they hired him for, and they gave the principal $30,000 bonus, and somebody took it to court. And the judge ruled that the whole thing was null and void. And he just made the suggestion, because I don't imagine that he wanted to rule what the suggestion of the act says. The act says that if you do something like that, particularly if you do it on purpose, the court can fine each member that voted for it up to $500 and a year in jail. So I would like to see us do it in the proper manner. I think the only way we can consider this contract is what the judge suggested himself, is to start the whole procedure over and make sure that it's right.
I've got a motion on the floor. If someone wants to amend it, or if we wanna go with it, Danny, whatever you wanna do.
I think what he's saying, I don't know if you want to amend that or not, but when we brought this subject up, he said, and I remember him saying it, I'm sure a couple of y'all have too, but he said, let's take up this situation at the next regular meeting. We didn't take it up at the next regular meeting. We took it at the emergency meeting, or whatever you want to say it, before Christmas, instead of having it on maybe December 27th. We literally took it up and started voting on it then, when he had, and people had agreed with him that it was gonna be at the next regular meeting.
Jim, we
Not-
had a
not in a-
lengthy
a meeting in May.
discussion with the attorney that I'm sure is on the video about the date, due to the fact that that fell between Christmas and New Year's, and that there would not be enough for a quorum and what we needed to do in order to meet that month. And I believe every bit of that will be on the YouTube channel.
Oh, I believe every bit of it. I think we can go back in the next few days and find out everything was said and what he said too at the next regular meeting, and then we can find out then. I think we ought to just delay these meetings till the next time until we can find this. I mean, you can say what you want, but until you look at that recording and hear what he says, then we'll know exactly. But I think we ought to just table this.
Well,
No action on it.
There's two things in my question. One is the way it was worded. There was no way anyone could look at that and tell what we were even talking about or how much money we were talking
Sure.
about on the agenda. So if some citizen went up and looked at the agenda on, if we've got it on the internet, then we'd have it on the internet, or if they looked at it posted out here in front of the City Hall, they wouldn't have any idea what we were talking about.
I don't think we post, the city council doesn't post dollar amounts on items that are on the agenda.
Well, you might wanna read that act.
If you read the law, it makes it specific. I mean, an eighth grader should be able to read this thing and understand exactly what you're gonna do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what's correct, but I know on the agendas, we don't, I don't think we post dollar amounts of everything we do.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we can't hear. We're not hearing hardly anybody out here.
I said, on our city council meetings, I don't believe we post dollar amounts on items that are on the agenda, do we? Not
Well-
just on the agenda, we,
You might have the city manager or someone check out or your city attorney, check it out.
What you're saying, it goes back to what we were doing, and we were trying to make a contract, and I was saying that, when you make a motion, or when you go for and you put out a contract bid, the only one that knew what was gonna happen is the chamber for 150. Nothing was said on the contract when it was bid out, and I think
That
that's
is not
a
true.
disadvantage.
That was listed very clearly in the proposal that we started in October.
Okay.
If that's the situation and you don't want to pass these minutes, I think we just need to not pass the minutes and go with the rest of the agenda for the sake of the time. We kept this young lady until 5:30 the other day, which is 30 minutes past her time, and I, for one, don't think she appreciates that.
Well, you have your own perception, and I do too. You know, you could say it's not true, but I could say that you're not true either, so it just depends on perception of what was
Maybe
going
we
on.
need to look at that video.
Sure, we can look at it. But I'll make a motion that we take no action on the November minutes until we look at it on the recording it and go from there.
Danny, can we move forward with the agenda if we don't do that? And if I had known this, we could have requested that our attorney was here, which the attorney was here for both October, November, and December meetings.
Sure.
I mean, I honestly don't know, I mean, if we,
Well,
I don't guess we have to approve it, I mean, we can,
I don't see why we're in a big hurry. I mean, we want to get it right, whatever we do.
okay, so,
Well, in the interim, if we don't have this contract, who's gonna do all of our work for us? Just
Well, I
asking.
mean, we've had an agreement, if they're willing to continue with that, I guess they would, under the agreement we've been working on. If not, then I guess we need to go look.
To go what? I'm sorry.
What?
What did you say, to go what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last word.
Well, I guess I'm not coming through to you.
Are we going to be able
Go
to
look.
change all of the agendas if we wait for 6 months and then go back and look? All I know to do, suggest, I don't know that we can move forward if we don't pass these, because a lot of this that we have is basically, if we don't move forward, and Debbie is right, we don't have anyone doing anything.
I mean, because that was supposed to start January 1st, is my question. Who's gonna prepare the agenda?
And I would ask, there is one thing that I feel like on the agenda is very pressing, and that's number 5. But there again, is it legal if we do that?
You mean number 5 on today's?
Yes, sir?
Well, I don't know what that's about, other than what's in here. Again, it's not written where I can understand. The only way I can understand what that's about is to go through with the additional paperwork that backs it up that the public doesn't have.
It should have probably read, you know, talking like you are, should have probably read mayoral conference in Durant would probably made it more, explicit is what it would be.
And for what amount's being asked.
Still make a motion that we should just take no action on the November meetings.
okay, so if we take no action on the November meeting, I mean, I'm assuming, we can go forward with the rest of the agenda?
We haven't had a second on this yet.
Hey, can I say something? If you
Yeah.
take no action, that's dated.
Yeah.
The only way you can continue will be to table it.
Table it, okay.
Good.
And there is a motion on the floor. I made a motion to accept it. So we've either got to amend, or stop that motion, table it. As the mayor said, it has to be tabled.
You made the motion before I did then?
Yes, I made the motion to accept it, and Charles says he had questions.
Now, if there's not a second, then that motion dies. Are there any other motions on the November 30th
Okay,
minutes?
so if I'm not gonna second this, I've got to have more information. So again,
Debbie, I don't think they can hear
oh,
you.
I'm sorry. Again, if we're gonna take, or table it, or try to pass it or not pass it, I need more information, because again, are they gonna agree to continue doing this for us for the next few months till we can figure this all out? Or I would like to know who is gonna do it if they do not agree.
What I wanna know is if we, if we vote on this and pass it, does this make it legal? Because we hadn't asked the question, with our lawyer, our attorney
He
on
was
what
in
he
the
said.
meeting.
So, I mean, or what are we gonna do, come back and go over that again next time after we've already passed it, and maybe it's right or maybe it's wrong?
Well, no, but the attorney was in the meeting, though.
The attorney was in
Well,
attendance.
what we're
at
talking
I'm,
about-
my question is too,
What
though,
we're-
if we table it, who still is gonna, I just want to know who is gonna
What we're-
do all this stuff.
I think the main one I was talking about is that he did make that statement in that meeting, that when we had the next regular meeting, this would be taken up. Well, it wasn't the next regular meeting, we pushed it up and before Christmas, and that's not a regular meeting. So, I don't know where we're gonna go from here, I don't know. But you already made a statement, it's supposed to be on the, if you made the statement right, it's gonna be on the recordings. And you asked them to put this for the next regular meeting. We did not do it on the next regular meeting. We did it on an emergency meeting before Christmas is what we did, so.
It's,
You know, I don't know, I don't have the question, I don't have the answer to that.
It's my
Maybe you're right,
opinion-
maybe you're wrong.
it's my opinion, if we're gonna do anything other than vote to take it like it is, that we probably should start the procedure over so there won't be a question.
The
And
only
it'll be
problem
a
with
lot
that too
quicker.
is
We
when we
won't be
did,
able to start it over if
when
we
we did
wait.
the RFP though, we didn't get any response, so that's my concern too. I'm just throwing my concerns out here so we all understand each other, but I don't, who,
I don't know.
I know.
We'd have to go back and look at that, and see what was said.
Well, could we look at that and have a special meeting?
And if he said that, and it's on there, and he said, and I heard him say it.
Yeah, I definitely want to be legal, I know.
No, we
but-
we didn't go to the next regular meeting when we did that.
Is Jason, could we get him on the phone, Janet?
I would say no. I don't have his phone number with me.
Well, I can probably get it.
I don't have his phone number.
Hmm,
So I don't have his phone number.
I can get his phone number if y'all would like to try to call
See,
him.
those regular meetings, we announce them a year ahead of time. And yeah, and this is what I was trying to explain at that November meeting, is that in order not to have that meeting that date and have it another date, we've got to
Post it.
go through a process where the notice is different than what it is for a regular meeting or a special meeting.
Charlie, we questioned the attorney about that, and we followed his instructions.
Well, his instructions don't go, if that's what we did, his instructions don't go by the act, the Oklahoma Open Meeting Act.
Sorry.
And I'm not saying whether, maybe he said it in such a way that it would, but obviously it wasn't received that way from the committee.
Danny, we need to know.
Well, I would go on his advice. I mean, he was the attorney, he's the one who's paying for advice. If he said what we did was right, I feel that we're okay.
Well, that's your prerogative.
Do we need to table the entire agenda? That's what I'm asking.
Well, I really don't know. I don't
I don't know.
know the answer to that. I mean, I don't know what's legal, what,
We've tabled meetings before and went ahead and did the agenda. Why is it so different?
wait, I mean, we tabled
But it wasn't a minute.
minutes.
We tabled items
tabled the
on the
minutes, yes.
agenda, but never the minutes.
We
We
tabled the
made
minutes, didn't we?
amendments to the minutes, but never the minutes.
We've never tabled the minutes before,
No, just amended them,
have we?
not since I've been on here.
I guess, in effect, you tabled them at the meeting you held in December in place of the regular meeting, except the regular meeting wasn't disposed of by the way it's prescribed in the Open Meeting Act.
The meetings didn't come up in that emergency meeting or whatever it was, did it?
Yes, they
Did we table
did.
those?
That's when we asked the attorney for his opinion
Okay.
on if we could do that.
And we tabled them.
He was there.
We didn't table anything.
No, that's when it
He
passed.
was there, and,
That's when it
I'm
passed.
assuming he heard Charles comment about the next regular meeting, and then when he said it was okay to do this in the special meeting,
But
As
we
long
didn't,
as we gave, as long as there was
and we gave
adequate,
notice.
yeah,
on-
notice given.
On the special meeting.
so we voted on the November meetings at the December 15th or whatever it is, the meeting?
We didn't,
Or did we table them or what?
we,
The December
we didn't,
15th meeting,
we
we did
didn't
not.
discuss the minutes.
In December, we didn't
Special
discuss any
meetings.
minutes.
No.
What did we do, Jeff?
We didn't discuss, per this, the minutes from that meeting, we didn't discuss, we didn't approve minutes that day.
That's what I thought.
That's why they're both here today. That was a special meeting to, for items 1 and 2. Correct?
I would just
Well,
like to have a legal,
That's what the record seems to show.
Yeah, that's what this shows.
I would just have, I would, if he was here, he could take care of it, but I'd just like to have this cleared up before we go any farther.
I guess I don't know why we couldn't not, I mean, table the minutes for tonight
I don't either.
and then move on with the meeting as long as there's nothing behind it that coincides with something in these minutes, correct? Is that
But there is, there's a pending contract.
okay? Well, there is that, of course.
But I'm not a lawyer, so we don't have a lawyer here, but I'm like you. I think we should be able to do it, but I don't know. We don't have a lawyer here.
Danny,
I don't have a problem doing it.
I guess we could go ahead with it, and then if it's not, we'll just have to go back and redo everything. So,
Well, if,
We can amend the minutes and put what, correct the minutes to,
It,
Charles, but
He doesn't want-
I don't think that will
it won't
affect the
appease
outcome
what's
of
going
the-
on.
Yeah, let me ask a question. Mayor, do you think we can go on to, just let that go and table it and go to the rest of the meetings, or would it be, oh, just your opinion, I know you're not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer,
Yeah.
but what I would do if it were me, I would go ahead, if I can get a motion and a second, I would vote on it. If it passes, I would go on. If it fails, and you have to just address it from there. But I would go ahead and put it out on the floor. I think Janet made a motion, then if somebody else seconded it, vote on it, and if it passes, then the minutes.
But again, we could table it probably and do the same thing and then come back and go along, as far as your opinion, just go along with the rest of the meeting too, just like Jeff said too. Either way.
Well, in all the time I've been mayor, I don't think we've ever tabled, we've never tabled a minute.
It'd be better to get a lawyer's opinion on either way we
But if
go.
y'all feel like, if you feel comfortable passing it, I would go ahead and pass it, and then, if there's any questions, then it would be.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable going on myself.
I think we can make a motion to amend the minutes to what Charles said, the next regular meeting. I don't think that's gonna change the outcome of anything else, so we amend the minutes. And pass that and go on.
If we pass that, those minutes, now you got the December minutes coming up and that ties in with the November minutes.
I don't have a problem with it myself.
Hmm?
I don't have a problem with it. I'm okay with it.
The November minutes had to do with the contract, and now the December does too, and the emergency meeting too, so.
the only
all
difference
tied
that there
together.
would be in going on and acting on it is that we will have made an act that's outside of the Open Meetings Act. Where if we table it till we can get some better advice than my advice, we haven't committed any kind of an act that's
But
legal or
again,
illegal.
I will repeat, our attorney was present October, November, and December at all of these meetings.
And I feel like that covers us.
Well, I don't know that there's anything in the minutes that says what he said about it.
I think it gives his opinion on that item 6 that you were reading.
Where is his opinion?
Danny, again, I don't think we have all night to sit here and
Well,
discuss.
I mean,
I'm sorry. It says Jason Pradasa, who is our attorney,
Mm-hmm.
handed out the proposal for management contract. That, he was here,
He
Charlie.
handed
He
it out,
was-
I'm sure he did that.
He was one, he not only handed it out, it was in the packet, along with the proposal that he sent out in October. Everything has been in those packets.
There was no way for the public to know what was being discussed.
Is the argument that, and I need clarification on this, since we are responsible for putting that agenda out, is your argument that we need to have everything attached to this?
No, what I'm saying is that the agenda itself should say enough that they know what's gonna happen and judge whether they think that they wanna talk to somebody on this board about it or not.
I don't, I mean, it says management contract, okay? There's, you don't have, I don't think you have to state dollar amounts, I mean, you talk about $1 or $1 million, I mean, that,
Well,
you're dealing with
This,
awarding a contract to somebody.
this,
If the public wants to know more about it, then they should come to the meeting.
Come to the
Or-
meeting, that's what I was gonna.
no, it's up to the public body to,
I disagree with you.
well, I've been disagreed with before, but it's what it says.
So are you wanting us to throw everything out from November and December? Is that what you're wanting? I'm not understanding what it is that you're wanting.
I want us to do it in the manner that is prescribed by this Open Meeting Act.
Yes, please.
Casual observer's viewpoint, I see no intentional violation or collusion to violate the spirit of the Open Meeting Act, which is what the judge of the court would worry about. It may be a minor technicality, but it's a technical violation. I don't think anybody would in court or prosecutor will let you off or get you on a technicality. Technicalities don't work in reality like they do in the movies. What I'm seeing here, I don't see any violation of the spirit of the act, so I understand.
And we appreciate what you're saying, but I still go, you know, if we had a lawyer here, we could have explained it, because I want the,
Well, he
Legal
explained it,
review.
he did explain it last time. I mean, he was here and handed it out and said, this is what we got, this is how much. And he said he did, we questioned him about it even though Charlie wasn't here, we questioned him about it. Is this all okay? And he said, yes, and that's what we're paying him for.
I think that's a totally different.
I mean, do you trust one attorney over the other one? I mean, he'd probably be the one having to defend us.
Okay,
My opinion.
If it wasn't
I'm
right,
giving
and he
you
told
my
us it was
opinion.
right.
I don't know.
but I mean, for,
You know, that's my concern. I just don't want to do anything
I don't
illegal,
think
but
we ought to even have a
if he was the one, because we
particularly
didn't throw that in
on
there.
contract.
the lawyer's
Danny?
opinion is only good until it gets into court and the judge.
I really
says it
think
was-
we've got to move on one way or the other. And if Mr. Callahan wants to throw those minutes out, then I don't see that we can move forward. But there again, we've got to vote on that too. Am I correct on that?
Vote on what?
If you want to toss those minutes out or put the minutes on hold or table it, we have to vote on that as
We
well.
have to vote if we're gonna table.
Can you explain once again exactly what you are wanting us to do
You just want us
specifically?
to correct the minutes, amend the minutes to what you said?
I think the minutes need to be corrected. And I think the, agendas need, this is what this judge says right here, it's a similar type set of circumstances, a different board. He says that they need to start all over.
I'm gonna go back to, and thank you, Mr. Morrison, for your remarks, but I'm going to go back to what he just said. I think it may be, no, I'm not even gonna say it's a technicality, because I don't feel like it is a technicality.
It's not. It's got,
If it's not a technicality, then what is it, Charles? Explain that to us, because that's what I'm not understanding.
what it is it's, we didn't follow, and there's purpose for following the Open Meeting Act of Oklahoma.
Yes, sir, there certainly
And
is.
here's a lawsuit, one of the lawsuits that they bring up in here is almost to the point. It's,
Okay, well, this is the agenda merely stated that the city manager's employment would be considered.
mhm.
That's totally different. We were voting on an agenda
Well,
item
you
for
gotta go on and
acceptance.
see what they did.
There again, I'm not really sure that this is relevant to any of the discussion that we're having with this.
Well, we don't have an attorney here to tell us their opinion, but it's the same as the Attorney General's opinion. There's Attorney General's opinions in here, and the Attorney General's opinion is law until a court says otherwise. Here, a court says otherwise.
Mr. Chairman, just for, and I know it's going to result in more of a financial expense to this committee. It's not listed on the agenda at all. But as a suggestion, my suggestion is that we do ask our attorney to sit in on any of these meetings going forward, because I know everybody's time is valuable, and we don't have 2.5 hours to stay and discuss something like this.
I agree.
On what you're saying there, I've asked y'all for about 1.5 years, even when I was chairman, to have the legal counsel be in every one of these meetings. And so I have always put this thing forward for about the last 1.5 years, and I never got a response on it. And I think we should.
Jim, you stated
since then.
to myself with 2 witnesses in my office that you did not feel it was necessary to pay an attorney to come into every meeting.
Yeah,
What I said on that, I said that the attorney should be in, and even, and Mr. Morrison, when he was sitting out here, I thought the attorney should be in the first 45 minutes or an hour, to where if we had anything that was legal coming up, that he would take care of it. I think you heard me say that too. But I've always said that we have to have attorney on every meeting, the first 45 minutes, to where we could bring anything that's up legal and take care of it.
I thought it was just if we saw something on the horizon that could be a legal problem in our agenda or something, that we would ask you.
But that's,
None of
we
these
need to
items
get
are
off that,
listed.
because it doesn't really make any difference now. It's us going forward.
So, do we want to table the minutes to the next meeting and carry forward? If so, I need a motion.
Well, there's a
To
motion, there still is a motion on the floor, so we've either got to kill that motion, or before another motion can be made, that motion has to be voted
Did
on.
you make a motion to amend the meeting?
No, I made the motion to accept the
Accept.
minutes as read. Mr. Calhoun said he had a question, and the discussion started. So that's where we are.
Do we have a second to that? Or do we have a second to Janet's motion?
I would be okay just making a proposal that we amend the minutes, a motion for that.
Okay. So we do,
Well,
that
we
motion
amend it,
dies.
make it
Do
whatever
we
he
have a
wants it to
motion
look like.
to amend to the minutes?
You're wanting to, what now,
Amend it,
amend it?
because that would still give us, and we can move on with our meeting.
Okay, do we have a motion for that, to amend the minutes?
Yes, we have a motion to amend the minutes.
Do we have a second to amend the minutes?
Okay,
I do think that's necessary.
there's still a motion on the floor. I made the
Oh, yeah.
motion
Yeah,
to accept it.
Oh, so we can't
Without a
do
second,
another
though,
one.
after enough time, it dies.
Yeah.
Right.
So
It
that-
died. It
Oh,
is
so we
died.
have-
Okay,
So what are you amending them to?
well, that we would have to watch the deal like they wanted and then revise them to whatever we actually said with more detail, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah. Are we in a hurry to do this? Can we wait 15, 20 days till we have the next meeting with a lawyer?
Are you gonna
and come
type
in?
all this up for us for this meeting? Please.
Okay.
That's just
mean,
my question, seriously, I'm not
I
being
don't know.
smarty, but I'm just concerned about who.
Like I say, if we take no action, it dies. If we table it, we correct the minutes and vote on them next time.
Is there anything that has to be done in the next 15 days in this? Are we in
Yeah, I
that
think
hurry?
they-
Well, the
I
next
think they
meeting
would like their
is,
answer.
30 days from today. Yeah, I think we need to move on.
So what are we doing? Tabling them?
He made a motion to
It-
amend the minutes. Is there a second? To amend the minutes of the November 30th.
What about Janet's motion before she made it?
Ours died.
It's already died.
It's died. We didn't have a second on it.
The motion should reflect on how you're going to amend those minutes, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
we won't know that until,
Mhm.
No, Charlie wants to put it in there that, he said next regular scheduled meeting.
You comfortable with that, Charlie?
I'm comfortable with that wording. I'm not, I don't know that I know enough of the law to say that I'm comfortable with us going that route.
I understand.
Is this because you don't agree with what happened, or is this because you're worried about getting sued by somebody?
Both. I think that we need to handle our agendas and our minutes the same way from now on. Then we won't have to worry about that, as long as we
We're
go
talking
by
about two
this
different
act.
things. We're talking about the minutes right now, amending the minutes to what you said. We're not talking about the agendas. The agendas are later, okay? Yeah, we need to be correct with the law. I agree. And I think we have been.
Yeah. So they both failed, so what do we go to next?
Well, if there's an agenda at the next meeting, the next regular meeting, it can be put on there.
Well, okay, if it dies, then, we take no action. And if we move on, then,
then where are we?
I
If
don't
we-
know.
Couldn't we table it and have a special meeting in a couple of weeks?
Well,
Oh, no, it's been determined we can't do that. We can't have a special meeting,
Oh,
so.
Well, no, I don't know that it's been determined yet. I mean, the law allows us to have special meetings.
well, if we posted it like tomorrow, we could have it 10 days. is
That's
that
correct, Charles. I'm sorry, Debbie. I
Go
didn't
ahead,
mean-
go ahead. No.
That's correct, Charles, and that's what was done at that November meeting. Are you saying that's what I'm not understanding. Which meeting are you saying was illegal? The one on the 15th?
No, the one that was illegal was the regular meeting in, December. We just forgot about it, as far as the record's concerned. And you can't do that because we told the public a year ago, a little over a year ago, that we were gonna have that meeting.
There again,
That's
I'm
another
going to
thing.
repeat that we followed.
Did you all turn in a list of the meetings for this next year?
Yes, sir.
Well, see, those meetings are set, and there's only one way you can do anything about them. And that's with a 2-week or 10-day notice, excluding holidays and weekends, which is,
Again, I'm gonna go back
must-
to
I
the
think,
fact.
I think we were correct on that special meeting, okay?
Now, what we did on that is that we had changed it about 2 or 3 years ago. We had the meeting on the last Tuesday of every month. And so what we did, we changed it to the second Tuesday of every month. And about a year ago, we had the I guess the city council, whatever, come back and said, we need to have it on the date that you had it on your proposition that we had voted on. And so we went back and came back to the last Tuesday of every month because we couldn't change it because the proposition said we were going to be here on the last Tuesday of every month. So
Now,
we
we're-
did change it, but we found out it would probably be
We're
wrong. So we
supposed
came
to
back.
send in by December, I think the 15th, it says in here, a list of the monthly regular meetings for the next year. We're supposed to send that to the city clerk,
Yes, sir.
That's been, that was
I think
done.
that was voted on in
and if
July.
that was done, huh?
I think that was voted on in July.
Well, it says by December the 15th, so I guess if you did it by July, it'd be way ahead of time, but I guess it works.
You know, we've gotta move forward. We've gotta do something.
All right, guess we got no action on, the November 30th meetings, minutes, on December 15th.
Are we gonna table it though?
No action, we haven't had a second or anything, so that means no action. That means it just dies.
But if she put a motion out there to amend it, my question would be, can we amend it here using Charlie's own verbiage? Which says, at our next
Regular meeting?
regular meeting. I
think we'd have to be more specific than that, maybe.
I think we've got to clean up the beginning of the proposition, which can be done in the next regular meeting.
okay. But can we move on going forward though without having that done? These people wanna know, you know, they're waiting.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we can move on, with the contract without doing it properly, if that's what you're asking.
I think we can. I think we had the attorney, and he said we covered all of our bases. We're okay. Okay?
So do we need to make a motion to table it?
Okay, so what are we gonna do, Chairman?
Do we need to make a motion to table it then?
Okay, you want to make a motion table?
I'll make a motion to table it until our next special or regular meeting.
I heard you
Second?
say that too, by the way.
What's that?
I said I heard you say that. Who seconded?
Do I have a second?
I didn't.
I second.
All right, take a vote.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Abstain.
Trustee I'm sorry. Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Same.
Vice Chairman Reed?
No.
Chairman Shear?
Yes.
Okay. 3-2.
3-3, wasn't it?
Well, first, second, third.
It's 3-3.
Who voted, I mean, how many noes, and how many yeses you had?
We had just 1 no and 2 abstained.
Okay, the 2 abstains counts as noes.
Oh,
So it's 3-3.
so we're still stuck. Okay, I say we go home.
3-3 means no, it fails.
And there's 7 members.
Doesn't table mean it's gonna have to come back with no changes?
That's what I thought.
There's no vote on it.
No.
Where you going next? Are we going any farther?
I say let's go ahead and go through the rest of the agenda, and we may have to throw it out too, but
Okay.
we're here for a reason.
Yeah,
And we need to move
we can let
quickly.
we can let the attorney straighten this out on the minutes.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Financial reports for October, November 21st.
Okay, Looking at the funds balance, page 20. Approximate balance in our account is $778,752.32, not counting revenue from December 2021. So Charles, that gives you a decent number to start with right there, okay? I think we're in pretty good shape. If you go to page, I would skip down to page 14. It does show you the revenues for October and November that we hadn't seen yet. So October was at 40,307. November a little bit lower at 34,835. We're still averaging about 41,500 for the year thus far, July through November. So up from last year, up from the year before, which is very positive for us. I think that's about all I have at this time. Yes,
Jeff,
ma'am.
just a really quick question on
Yes, ma'am.
page 20.
Yes, ma'am.
Was the last one, it says expense item January 2021, should that be 2022 or is that?
Yes, that's 2022,
Okay.
yeah. That's
So
just a
that needs to
typo.
be corrected.
Yeah, it does
Okay.
need to be corrected. The
Okay.
bottom of page 20.
Bottom. Okay.
What she's done is shown some expenses we've already incurred this month, and so she just shows those just for you guys,
Okay.
for your benefit.
Sure. And that fund estimation at the top needs to be changed to 22
Yes.
as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
I got a question on that. We voted on, the concerts down in downtown. We voted $100,000 to give for that project, right? Are some of these,
Correct.
are some of these in here, the extra outside of the $100,000 we gave them? Are we paying for other things for the downtown, concerts? Is there anything down through here?
There's a whole separate,
Yeah, let's say.
there's a whole separate spreadsheet on the concert
Yeah.
that gives line items on everything that was expended.
That's what I'm saying on the fall concert, mid.
No, that's through them,
broadcast
right?
and
The
all that.
98,000. I think what he's asking is, did we spend anything outside of that?
It's, there's
yeah.
two. There was a
Yeah.
$15,000 amount that
Yes.
was approved to do advertising.
Yep.
And there's actually, but that's in a different, we had that on the report on the next one.
Okay.
Which is actually to show what the concert series
And so-
is and how much was left over from that.
And
Correct.
so how much do we spend totally on the concert? $100,000 or less, or would we spend it on?
Are we off of the financial
I
report?
know, we
Because
hadn't
that's
approved
the
the
next
financials
one.
yet.
Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
on the
that's the
next
next one.
the expedition.
That's the next one, Jim.
All right,
Do we need to vote on that, Danny, to accept
I
it?
don't think so.
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
it's just a report.
Just report.
Discuss and consider approval of remaining funds from the fall concert series. We have a report on the fall concert series.
Yeah, if you guys will look to page 23 there in your packet, we'll start the first breakdown of remaining funds. Thank you, by the way. Jeremy Spence filling in for Jennifer Wilcox today, so please take it easy on me. As I can see, we've already gotten the gloves out today, so hopefully this is a lot of information to follow.
Before you start, we have people in here, if you can tell them how you're tied in with these reports.
Certainly.
I'm just asking you, if you would, just give me your name and how you're tied in with this.
Yes, appreciate that, sir. My name is Jeremy Spence, and I'm on contract with the Durant Chamber of Commerce, and also did a lot of contract work for the Discover Durant Fall Concert Series and social media. So I'm here to report on all the numbers and metrics that we got back from those.
And the other thing that they tell me is that Jennifer, that usually gives us the report, she's got COVID now, so
Yes, sir.
that's why you're filling in, right?
She does have COVID, and that is why I'm filling in for her report today, correct?
Thank you.
You are welcome. The first page there is the total final budget, page 23 there.
What page is it on?
On page 23,
Yes.
that is the summation of the line item report for the breakout of $100,000, which is in the preceding 3 pages. We had a balance there of $1,091.30. That was what was left over there. On the next page, on page 24, this was an additional $15,000 budget that was approved by the board. And of those funds, expended was $10,807.01 of actual expense, which left us with the balance of $4,192.99. Combined with the remaining $100,000 left over, that gives us a grand total of $5,284.29.
So the final, part of that was around about $104,000 is what we paid for the.
What
contract.
page is that, 5?
It would be
$109,000.
$109,715. $109,715.71 actual incurred expense.
Correct.
So it wasn't 5,000.
That was the remaining balance. This was the expense. It was approved for 15,000. And the
Yeah, yeah, I knew
expenditure was
that, but
10,000, and this is the remaining.
I thought he said 5,000.
Okay, so that's good, we didn't spend all of our money.
Uh,
Had budgeted.
On that, I think the question is, there's the balance that is remaining with Overdrive Entertainment. The other is already in the funds. That was not expended out of the funds.
Yeah.
But this is an amount, the 1,009 that's left. Do we want to carry that over, or do we want them to return that to us in the form of a check? And that was their question to us.
Okay,
I guess I would prefer that it'd make it cleaner if they just gave it back.
I agree.
I agree.
And so that's why I make the motion that we ask them to return that amount. And that way it's cleaner.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Debbie?
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes,
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes. Okay,
you have anything else for us?
No, not for this particular bullet item.
This
On
looks
the
great.
billboard, may I make a suggestion that we move that down to talk about other advertising marketing reports to leave time for the city of Durant to discuss their grant request for the mayor's event?
sounds
So you
good.
want
Since those
to
are a
go
little bit
down,
more related, to talk to the additional billboard costs,
so you want to go down to 5 and go
Yes,
back on 4?
yes.
Okay.
I think that's
Okay.
appropriate.
and then we can we'll
We'll
bring that back up
rearrange
in
the
discussion.
schedule, yes.
Thank you.
All right,
Yes, thank you.
Everything in the grant is turned in. There was a guesstimation on the budget because they had never had that item before, at this event before. I think it's a good grant, and if we don't want to go through it, I would like to make the motion that we accept it and fund the grant in full for the $10,000 amount.
So we're looking at page number 26, if you want to look.
Now,
I've already looked it up on my phone earlier.
now what's this grant for?
Look at number
can't tell by
26.
Looking at
26, page 26.
the
you know.
agenda.
The grant is in there, and it specifies it's for the mayor's conference for Oklahoma. There was-
Again, this is a question about the agenda. I just bring it up as a question. I'm not against it in any way. I just am bringing up the question.
The application had to be made, and they had to be accepted. They were in competition with several other cities throughout the United States. And if Ellie is in here, and Ellie is one that actually filled that application out. So if we have any questions, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer those. But they were in competition with many other cities throughout the state of Oklahoma. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that we've ever been able to host an event like this. And again, I'm assuming there may be discussion, but I would like to put a motion on the floor, and the motion is to accept it in full.
I'd like to discuss some more first. Mayor, could we get you to come up and let you come up, and then if she wants to come up too, but we'd like to ask you some questions first. You first. Y'all both can speak after each other. I'd just like to ask you, since you're the mayor, and you've seen this every year, apparently they have this every year at different cities.
Yes.
Have you been to 2 or 3 of these yourself?
No, I planned to go last year. It was the first year I could
COVID.
go, but because of COVID, I did not go. I believe it was in Lawton last year. And it was, from what I understand, it was a big success. And since this is the first time we've ever had it here, we would like to be better than Lawton. We would like to have it be the best one that we've ever had. And Ellie's done a fantastic job
she
putting
has.
it all together and making all the plans.
Okay.
And we applied for it, and out of a lot of cities apply for this every year, and this is the first time Durant's ever been accepted.
Okay, can you come up and give us more
Ellie,
detail? Thank you.
You may want to
Thank you.
tell them what your title is for the city.
Yes.
Hi, so I am Ellie Flynn. I am John Dean's assistant, so I'm the assistant to the city manager.
Can you talk up just a little bit more?
Oh, sorry, I'll get a little closer. Okay, so this was a statewide proposal that the Mayor's Council of Oklahoma sent out. So any city within the state of Oklahoma could apply, and they awarded us based off of what we could provide and what we showed. They did have specific requirements. I went ahead and have this. If you guys want, I can pass it out so you can see.
It's attached to the grant.
Oh, okay,
It's
good,
in your packet.
great. So there were specific things that they needed, so many sleeping rooms, so many meeting rooms. They needed at least 2 that would hold 100 people at one time. They needed an additional room for breakfast that we could provide, an additional breakout room for their board of directors that OML is going to bring. We are planning on bringing them into town as much as possible. I attached a tentative schedule for the conference. There is 1 meeting day planned for the mayors, but on that day, all of their spouses and families, we get to bring them into town and let them shop, take them places, take them to do activities. So they're gonna be in town the whole time. Their families are gonna be here in Durant experiencing our downtown attractions and everything that we have to offer.
You did an excellent job filling out
Yeah.
this,
Thank you.
You
Thank
did
you.
I'm just asking you, what about, I guess if you didn't get the money, you can still have it. This helps y'all as far as the city of Durant.
It helps us bring them into town more. You know, there are things at the hotel that are obviously included, things that they can do and they can go spend their own money on, but we're trying as hard as we can to bring them into town. So that's why we're requesting the funds, so that way we have the option and we have the money to be able to bring them downtown rather than have them spend their own money at the hotel, at the casino.
I'd like to ask you a couple more questions.
Yeah.
On the 150 guest lodging is what you expect to come down.
Yes.
Do you know if many of them are staying at the Choctaws, or do we get some business here at the 4 or 5 motels we have?
So part of the proposal, I had to go ahead and tentatively book a set of rooms for them. That way they could have a discounted rate. So
You booked at one hotel, or?
at Choctaw, because they wanted their meeting rooms to be in the same location. It's a conference as well, so there's one solid day where they're in meetings all day, and they wanted that to be close to where they were staying. And
Their meals will be out there too?
no, part of them. On that meeting day, the mayors will have some meals there. They probably won't leave the hotel, but their families, their spouses, any guests they bring, we're bringing them to town, and we're gonna have all our meals in town that day.
It says retail shopping for mayors. Are we giving them money to shop, or?
No, that's just
That's what I'm saying.
guesstimate.
Just explain it for us.
Yes.
'Cause it don't look right.
Yeah, that's just guesstimating how much they'll spend
That
on the
they'll
day.
spend, correct?
Right.
Do it.
That'll be what they spend.
Yes,
We
because
just-
spouses are gonna come separately from the mayors. There are gonna be days where the mayors get to come, and then there's gonna be separate times that just the spouses come.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm saying, it looks, we don't want anybody to come back to us and tell them that we're giving them money to shop.
Yeah,
Or even the shopping for families, that's what you estimate on that, okay?
yeah.
Okay.
Jim, I might add that I do believe that different companies or organizations or businesses contribute to this. I looked over the list for last year, for the one they had in Lawton, and there were quite a few businesses that did contribute. I don't think it says how much they contributed, but it did say, it had a list of contributors, which I guess they do acknowledge them and recognize them for their contributions.
Well, I noticed also that the Municipal League of Oklahoma contributes $1,000 towards the event.
Yes, and they also will make a site visit down in March to check out everything before the June event.
Now, they're gonna be here for 2 nights and 3 days, or how's this going?
It could be, yeah.
2 nights, yes. 2 nights, 3 days.
Are there specific items that we as due rent will be responsible for paying for and having for them?
So we are paying for transportation and food on Thursday and Friday. And then they're splitting the activities. Some of the activities the mayors will pay for individually. And then there's also some that we will be contributing to as well.
So when
You're
we're giving-
asking for $10,000.
Yes, sir.
What if it costs more than that? Who will,
The city.
the city's gonna
Yes.
back it up?
Or other,
It does
or other
cost more than
entities,
that, because you've got more, the total monies down here is
Yes.
different, so.
Your
That's how much
budget's,
they're gonna spend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
your
we're gonna
budget's
spend-
$20,000.
Yes.
budget's 20, correct?
Yes.
So if you don't get our 10,000, the city's gonna spend 20,000.
Or people
Yes.
that,
Or other entities can
Donations.
donate as
Donations.
well.
So the total amount, what do you think the total amount's gonna be to bring these people down here? I know it's gonna be more than 10,000.
The budget guesstimate is about 20.
Jim, it's
20,000.
included in the grant
Yeah,
packet.
Page 32.
yeah, it's on page 32.
And right behind that is the
How much,
economic impact.
how much does each town or each mayor pay for this conference?
I'm not sure if there's an admission fee to
No.
attend the conference. They just pay for their hotel rooms and their golf. And there may be a few other things that OML requires them to pay, but that is not included in any of our
Right,
bid.
right, I mean, but there is a cost for them to attend, that they have to pay, or their
or
town.
the
Yeah.
city
House
has
to
to
pay.
pay. Danny, when I
Generally,
was-
the city would pay for it,
When I
yeah.
was gonna go last year, Cindy made reservations for me at a hotel
Yeah.
and for one of the big events, I don't know which, and some of the stuff I, of course, would have had to pay for, but most of it would have been paid for by,
By the city.
By
yeah.
the city.
Yeah, Right, right, I mean, expect them to.
right.
Yeah, yeah, I was just wondering what the cost was.
And this is an odd question, but, they're going out to the Choctaws, and the Choctaws are benefited. I would like, and it might, these other ones have to input too, but I'd like for you just to have a printout of all the hotels here,
Yeah.
and just give it to each one of those, because these people are gonna be, some of them are gonna be coming back.
Yeah.
Once they see this town and the Choctaw casinos, they're gonna be coming back. And we'd like to get some of their business in the motels here in town if we could. And I don't know what y'all think, but I'd like to have a printout to where you could give to all of them, to let them know all the hotels in town,
Well,
if you think
well,
that's.
I'm sure the
that-
restaurants are gonna be more than
I'm sure
included
they-
on that.
We've got
I'm
those,
Yeah,
sure they will have
absolutely.
that we'll be glad
a
to.
goodie bag, a swag bag.
And that's what we
okay?
wanted in.
And I'm sure anybody that
Wants to take something to put in the.
would like to, they're looking for donations, so anything you have
Sure.
to put in to advertise your business, if you wanna give them a little peanut, or a big peanut, or a bag of peanuts with your name on it, they would be more than happy to take that, okay?
And
As
some
long
of
as we
those
don't put a
little
face on
bags,
it.
they
And
put
if I wanna put a
notepads
coupon
with
in there
Yes.
for a free hamburger,
Yeah.
they will love
Is that
that.
what you're gonna do?
I might do that, yeah.
The other thing, and we need to add the restaurants, all the restaurants, along with the hotels, and just put it in their, I guess, what do you call it?
A swag
bag.
bag,
Is that what they call them now?
yeah, yeah.
And like I said,
They-
if,
they've
if,
been called
if we,
everything.
if we get with y'all, even like Danny on his restaurant, he could literally put on Sherry's restaurant, what, a free hamburger or something like that?
Yeah,
Okay?
Or
And
I
rest
can
motel?
make a donation, like my business, I'm not even in the city limits, but I'm gonna make a donation, but just a money donation. And then they can use it for what they,
Humphrey may wanna put a welcome to Durant free six-pack.
On that note, I'll second your motion
Thank you.
Thank you,
that
guys.
we approve.
Thank y'all for
thank you very
explaining it to us.
much for
Any other
hearing us.
hard, but-
Yeah, okay, we've got a second
Sorry.
We did get a second.
on that motion to approve. And then call vote.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
What are we voting on?
To approve the grant for 10,000 for the city.
For the mayoral conference coming down.
conference.
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed,
Yes.
Chairman Shear.
Yes. It's
Again, I
approved.
wanna mention that our agenda has fallen short on that item.
That's duly noted. We will discuss that with the attorney, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
You're talking about on the last one?
One we just.
On everything.
We just
Yeah,
put
man.
mayoral, and that would help it some. Go ahead, Denny.
All right. Do we want to do the additional billboard, or wait, I guess we'll go to the number 6. Discuss a beautification project at the Highway 6975 and Main Street exit corridor.
Now, I came up with this, and what it is, I've talked to a couple, 3 of the council members at different times, but we have downtown Durant quite a bit, but we also need some out by the hotels and restaurants, because that's still part of downtown on 6975. And what I suggested is that we need to make this city look good. I've had a couple people, I told them at the last meeting, that people come into Durant and you really don't, and I know the city doesn't have enough money, but when you come in and you start looking at the median in between Walmart and Sherwin-Williams, and you start looking at the one that's going around, it's not manicured. I know they have so much money, but even they don't have a grass catcher in the summertime, and so they just blow the grass all over the place. And when you get to the trees in the middle, if you go out and look, they mow around them, but when they get this close to those trees, that grass is up that high. And I'm not saying that's bad. They only have so much on their budget, on the councilman and the mayor too. So what I'm suggesting that is that I think we ought to give them at least up to $100,000. We want this city to look good, and when they come into our hotels and our restaurants out there, what it's going to do is going to make people look, because then we're going to look just as good as out at Choctaw Casino. We will have the sharpest looking entrance to our city than anybody at this size of town in the state of Oklahoma. And what they see when they come into the motels, and they see it manicured. And we're talking about in the summertime, mowing it about every 10 days and manicuring it, keep those crepe myrtles cut down, make them look good. If you want to put another sailboat out there, as long as it's concrete and it'll last 40, 50 years, and you've already got lights out there to where you can put what? Gateway to Lexoma that we hadn't had in a while. But, even in the wintertime, what we want done is we want it fertilized in summertime, we want it fertilized in the wintertime. We want to put ryegrass down, just like out of Choctaws. We want this thing to be a knockout to people. When they come into our restaurants and our motels out there, they will already be in a good mood. They'll remember this town just for that. I think when we do that, it's going to save the city money, maybe $20,000 a year, but we'll have this done year round. You'll probably have to have Lynch or Allison or somebody else to contract out, the city will. But all we're doing is giving the money to the city, and y'all manage it to where you make it look sharp all year round, even in the wintertime on ryegrass. And so all we're doing is we're picking a proposal to make this out here at the 6975 turnoff to make it excellent. Did you want, and that helps the city. I
Jim,
think
just to-
Charles has already said that he wanted some maybe flower beds, and Danny said something about coming back and putting what, an irrigation system?
Just
But
a
anybody else say
question,
something?
is that owned by ODOT, or is that actually the city property to maintain?
City mows it, city maintains it, it's our.
So it is the city? Okay,
The city has Highway 70 going all the way through. They did that back in Jim Dunnigan's, and when he was the manager here. So we have maintenance all the way through Durant, don't we, Charles?
Well, I think Highway 48 still is under state.
But Highway 70 is
But all
our,
you gotta do is ask them if you can use it. And I think the same thing's gonna
What's
be
that?
with the,
go ahead, Charles.
Bypass to First Street, he says it's city.
what?
I don't know, he was just saying something, go ahead.
And, I think probably the federal highway system, as a matter of fact, it's not probably, I know they own the right-of-way, however wide it is there at the intersection. But I think all we've gotta do is ask them, can we, work with the median and, clover leaves, because we've done it before and they approved it. But I think we'll need to do that in order to be able to.
I just know, I've had 3 or 4 people in the last 6 months to say something about it. The beautification on that, on Durant, will not just go to us, but they'll go to the mayor and all the city council, and also go to the city manager on how many people will compliment on what we look like when we come into the city.
Jim, can I ask a question? We reactivated the beautification committee board this year.
Yeah, could you come up and talk on this, Phil? Thank you.
We reactivated the beautification board this year, and we're trying to get projects started. Okay, if the tourism wants to donate or allocate money to, could it be allocated to the beautification committee, and then we keep that as a separate account for, strictly for that area out there? You specify that area, we keep it for that area. I don't know how all that works, so just a question.
You know, we'd have to ask the lawyer, but let me throw this on you right here. The reason that I was looking at the city, that comes with liabilities. And let's say if you go to the beautification and do that, if one of those mowers go across there and gets hit by, you know, somebody going down Highway 70, there's gonna be some liability there. I've talked to, you know, I think the city manager will know more so than I do, but you have liability set in there, and I don't know how that works. Maybe our attorney does, and maybe the mayor or the city managers, but, you know, people getting hurt even though the lawnmowers and stuff like that, so I don't know about that. Anybody else has anybody?
I don't
to say?
either, but the city, you know, mows that anyway, so I would think the workers would be, you know, covered under the
I think what
insurance.
we're thinking about is actually contracting with a private firm to.
I'm sorry, Danny.
I think what we're thinking about is contracting with a private firm
Yes.
to
Okay.
put the landscaping in and to maintain it on a annual, not a daily basis for
Did
that
it-
matter.
Somehow it
weekly.
needs to be a formal proposal.
Yeah, and we're exploring that right now. I don't know what, I mean. if
Just a
we're-
question.
Are we willing, I mean, first of all, the committee has to decide what we want to spend.
Just a question, and this is for the councilman, because I think they will probably have a better answer than we would. On that, in that area, are there any plans that you're aware of that have already been platted? And is I think the Parks and Rec, is he over that area? Do you guys know?
Is that Park and Recreation?
I think probably,
You didn't know you were gonna have to work today, did you?
that's why I look like I do, I didn't know I was gonna have to work. We already, at the beautification, we already have started some projects. First of all, City Hall looks like, I don't wanna use an ugly word, but it don't look very nice in front of City Hall. We have no plants, the grass is dead. Our first project is to do City Hall. We are working on a project for Main Street downtown. We are having banners made that, the downtown Main Street can't afford it, they don't have the money. But we are having banners made that will say, they'll have a big magnolia, they'll be green, which I don't know if y'all know, but green is the city color. And they'll have a big magnolia in the middle, and at the top it'll say City of, and under the magnolias, it'll say Magnolias. And I don't think James is in here, but I visited with James yesterday, and we are talking about wrapping the light poles with lights.
Oh, good.
And that's something we're working on. And we're branching out because we definitely want City Hall done. So Jim, in answer to your question, we're working our way out that way. We kind of, I guess you gotta start at home first. And Danny, you come in there every month, you see how the front of City Hall looks. The grass is dead, there's weeds out there, and we need something, you know, that'll be easy to take care of, because unless we have a watering system, nobody's gonna water
Correct.
that. Right now, I think we have soaker
hoses. So in answer to your question, Jim, we do plan. Our goal is when the people come into this mayor's deal, we want this town to look beautiful. We want them to leave and,
We understand y'all just have so much money, and I know to keep it up that good, it's gonna be quality, it's gonna be a lot of money, but what it is, it's gonna help every one of us, it's even in the motels, they'll come in, and what it is, when they see a place like that, that looks like carpet, they will be happy when they walk in. I mean, if they see, you know, every one of the cities has trouble with money, and I know you're doing the best you can out there, but we're just trying to help you out there, since that would be on the tourism side too, to where, you know, it'd make us look better, and I think more people would come in, but we understand you only have so much to do it out there.
well, so in answer to your question, we would take care of that part out there. If you wanted to give some money for us to do so, it would be earmarked specifically for that. And like right now, we don't have any banners downtown. So, we've been trying to get everybody on the same page, and Humphrey's on the beautification committee. We wanted a big tough guy on there, so if we need something moved, and we have several plans. We're gonna move, Dixon Durant down to City Hall, and we're gonna put him in front of City Hall, which is where he should be, because he's not seen down at where he is. And that's a beautification project. So we do have several things going, and I do agree with you, Jim, because I ride out that way a lot, and I see those, the medium looks terrible. There's trash in there sometimes, and then it's not mowed. So I do agree. And in defense of the city, it's not just a money problem. We've had a lot of employees out with COVID.
We understand, and we want a professional, you know, we're just giving y'all the money with some stipulation about, you know, maybe it's mowed every 10 days, and you got fertilizer in summertime, ryegrass in the wintertime,
Right.
and it mowed, you know, every 10 days in the wintertime, and then we're just giving y'all the money. And we appreciate what y'all are doing downtown, and we give them $10,000 a year on that. But we also, I talked to Janet when we first started, and I told her we gotta own some things around here, and even the barbecue out of Southeastern. If we put the barbecue and have a $10,000 prize and a $5,000 prize for the best barbecue, you'll bring the best ones in Oklahoma City and Dallas down here, and they'll stay overnight to do it. But getting back to this, what it is we also help the downtown. We put in $100-something thousand on this concert, and we expect to be doing it next year and the next year to bring it in to where people will come back, not just stay in motels, but they'll stay here. But we only got so much allocated, and so we paid over $100,000 here. We want to put $100,000 out there to make it quality looking.
We want to get the biggest bang for our buck, I guess is what we're saying. And I think since we are known as City of Magnolias, we do need, I think, at one time we talked about real live magnolias downtown. Well, we can't afford that, but we can afford banners with the magnolia on it. And I think that our streetlights are beautiful downtown, and I think if we can wrap those in.
And the city's gonna do that?
No, the beautification committee.
Would those be powered by solar? Because I know many of those do not have.
Yes,
Good.
and if we can afford it, because James, I don't think James is here, but James was checking on that. From what I understand, the few poles downtown that do have plug-ins, the homeless people plug their phones in them. And we wouldn't want, we wouldn't want them unplugging our things. And then Ryan was gonna check and see how many, but we decided the best way to go would be with the solar. And James was checking to see what kind of price. We already have a price on the banners, but we don't have a price yet on, and I think solar lights would be a little bit more expensive, but they would be better. And I think the ones James was looking at, the batteries or whatever they use in them has a 10-year life, so.
I think that's great.
So anyway,
I
and
think
Do you
that
think
is really-
too that with it being downtown, that some of the people downtown, the private proprietors would give money in on this, and maybe some of the city of Durant people would put some money in?
I
too?
don't know, Jim, because if I'm not mistaken, and Janet, you may know, but I believe the merchants downtown already pay dues to the downtown Main Street.
They do, and it would really be a stretch for a lot of those small retail
Right.
businesses to be able to do that. It really would, because
Right.
it's They are definitely not past the COVID.
Yeah,
Pandemic.
I don't think that we could ask them at this point to contribute, I think, because even the restaurants,
I agree with that.
you know,
I agree with that.
right, so they're still struggling. So we're trying to watch our budget very, very close. And John's been good to work with us, I have to say. John wants the town to look pretty too, to look nice. And Danny, we all on that council, so we can get that. We'll try to get in Humphreys. There's 4 of us out of the 5 here today, so, you know, we can work on that, Jim. And I do agree, because a lot of people, we're always out that way, going to, well, I don't go to Walmart, but a lot of people do. And I did notice today over in that parking lot over by the strip mall across, you know where I'm talking about, where Cato's and all, they were fixed today, because I don't know if y'all been out there, but they had holes you could almost lose your car in, potholes, if any of y'all been out there. So somebody got the word to them.
The strip mall, on the other side of
You know where Cato's and the Dollar Tree and
Oh, yeah.
all that, there were horrible. Yeah, there were horrible potholes in there, and they were out there today fixing them, so somebody must have gotten the word to them.
Yeah, I'm laughing because they blasted us on our Facebook page. for
Well,
that,
we got
so.
blasted too.
Well, okay, on this thing, I think we were looking at advertising for bids to private contractors to install this and maintain it.
Well, good luck on trying to find, of course, I'm gonna tell you right up front, Allison's great. He does all that work for Choctaw, but he can't do it for us. I called Rodney, and he's got more than he can handle out of Choctaw.
What about Lynch?
He does a lot at Choctaw too, I believe, because
I
I
think
have.
he
in
does.
He
my
said, and I
landscape-
He's in
believe,
Choctaw a lot too. I don't wanna
unless
talk
he's
too
not
far.
doing it anymore, he used to do for the college. Do you know, Mike, if he still?
I don't,
Yeah,
yeah.
he didn't do a good job at the cemetery.
But that's your and Danny's responsibility, not ours.
It-
That's what,
We're picking up somebody to
But I know Lynch
take care of the
supervision.
grass
yeah,
and stuff.
I drove through the Choctaw and looked at their lights and everything, and they're beautiful, but we don't have trees like they do, so the next best thing would be the street lights. And if we could wrap those street lights, I think that would be beautiful, and it would enhance those banners hanging up there. So we would have downtown, and then if the merchants could each plant something and stick the pot outside their door, then we would have downtown pretty well. And maybe if we could just throw some striping on it, even though we're not ready to pave it, a little striping would.
Well, and I'll add to that, I know Main Street has tried for 3 years to get a contract with a landscape company to come in and just water the trees and help with the landscape and everything. They haven't been able to get anyone.
Well, now,
Do you think that's because it's not a big enough job to?
I'm sure that that's it, but I'm not sure, and I've
There's
got
not
to
very many
agree with what
landscapers
Odin
around
is.
here.
we
Yeah.
tried to get a landscaper
yeah.
for City Hall and the airport, you know, to fix the airport
Right.
out by the street out in.
Which is badly needed.
John said he talked to everybody. Now, Humphrey, you said you might know some landscapers, but if you do, we need to know, so, because some of that stuff, if we either gonna have to put it out on bid or do it ourselves.
Right,
And
right.
I know Luke Craig's been doing a lot of work for us, for doing, he won some bids out there with that land, EIA sold recently.
yeah.
So Luke Craig, I think he does.
Well, see, we might contact him, and I might add that another project we've done, our very first project with the reactivation of the beautification committee was the cemetery. We went down and we made a huge flower bed where there was a big circle, just a blank circle. And of course, you know, we've got the angel moved
Right.
down there and planted crepe myrtle trees. And when we went down there, and you'd be surprised how scarce people are. You know, I had to work, and I'm too old to get down and dig holes and plant plants, I can assure you, because I couldn't get out of bed for a couple of days. But we had, you know, different ones that helped, and it looks beautiful down there now. The cemetery to me looks better. I don't know if any of y'all been down lately, but I think it looks better than it's looked in a long, long
looks very
time.
nice,
And we've had the same people for the last 3 years mowing the cemetery. But we had those crepe myrtles and the angel when you turn in. Have you seen it, Charlie? It looks nice, don't it? So
It
so that was the first project we,
That circle you're talking about that you've got flowers in, it was built for that over 100 years ago.
just hadn't.
I knew it was old, but I didn't realize it was that old, but
Mhm.
it really looks nice.
And I have to say, Cindy Price and her husband, they rigged up a wagon with a water thing, and they are responsible. They go down and water that themselves on their time.
That's a pretty big job.
So, yes, it is. And Glenn he designed the layout for the circle. I don't know if any of y'all have gone down there, because when we worked on that Saturday, he had it drawn out. We had to put everything exactly. Somebody put a plant one place. He said, no, that don't. So he had to move it, but it looks great. And I think they told me that they lost one plant, and then Cindy, they didn't anticipate the weeds, so she had to have a couple of $100 more to buy ground cover.
To go, yeah.
It has to usually be done every year, so that's
So
what I was.
if we give the city the money, then y'all will be able to take care of that, I guess, Danny, won't you? Even if you're, even if
Putting
you're,
Danny on the
even if you're having to bid out things?
Well, I would think we would need to check with people on pricing and
Yeah,
all
I
that.
don't,
and
I don't know what you can do for $100,000.
I
mean,
know.
I don't know if that's big enough to attract anybody, private firm or not. And, I mean,
40 times a year, they should be able to do it for that much.
It's hard, Danny, you know that, because
Yeah.
we've had a
The
problem.
main thing's gonna be you need to get water. That has
yeah,
to be done
that'd be
first.
another thing. If you do very much, it need irrigation. I don't know if the city could,
We can't afford that right
afford-
now.
Yeah.
well,
So, we've had that problem downtown,
Right.
because a lot of the plants that they tried to plant in the
Yeah.
big pots died, and I
there's supposed
understand.
to be irrigation built into that.
Well, there
But
used to be an
that-
irrigation system down there, I guess. Somebody cut it, yeah.
It was
So,
cut,
anyway.
it was cut, we don't know.
But anyway, we can help the beautification committee to make that look nice, so we'll be happy to. And I have to say that James, and I don't know if y'all have met Ryan, the new parks guy.
He's
He is-
amazing.
He is.
He is amazing.
He's
We have
really,
met him.
he's young, he's enthusiastic, and he has really done an
He has.
amazing job.
He is, and so willing to help.
Yes.
He wants to see things done.
We
I've
want
really
our
been
town to
impressed
look
with
pretty,
him.
we want it to look nice. We want people to want to come here.
Danny, this is just on for discussion, so if you
Okay.
want it on the next agenda, we can list that as a line item to vote on.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Anybody else have any ideas of what on this, and what they'd like to see?
On the beautification.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I was hearing sounded good to me.
Sounds good to me.
So do we need to
You wanna make a motion on that, or what?
bids?
Well, we don't have,
We don't have to vote on
we
it.
don't have anything to vote on, we
You'll
were
have to
just,
list it as a line item.
Line
to
item
vote
next
on.
month.
discuss
Yeah, next
Okay.
time.
beautification, we don't have I don't know if we can put a vote on there to.
No, it has to be
I
on
think
there
so.
as
It has to be on the
action.
agenda next
Add it
time.
to the agenda next month.
Okay, do you think we wanna put that on the agenda for next month?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to get moving on it. I
Okay,
believe.
are we in agreement on the dollar amount?
Sure.
I think I'm like Debbie, I think we need to
Get
put a
more
bid out to
details.
kind of see what we can get done. And we've got to work with the city, it's the city's property. So I think, first of all, we need to, there he is. I think, first of all, we need to consult with the city to find out what it is that you would like to see done with that. You guys own that property, and hopefully we can assist in some way to help.
And if we can help you up to $100,000 to keep it up.
Jim, we
Sometime
have to
when-
vote on.
Well, we can get that done. I mean,
So if your committee
Well, we
would,
can't.
if your committee would put together a presentation for us maybe of what you think you could get done, or, I don't know, is that appropriate?
According to, there again, we've got to go back
Need to
to our
wait?
attorney, because
Okay.
if it's in the form of a grant, no.
Okay,
If we own the project, if Discovered
yeah.
Durant owns the project, then yes, we can do that. But mine would be a suggestion that we own it and get guidance directly from the city.
This would be on the same line as what we did on all these concerts out there.
Okay,
We did the
Very
same
good.
thing.
Okay,
But the city owns the property, and we've got to work directly with them.
yeah.
Well, they're the one that has the liability insurance that's gonna be needed for it too. That's gonna be a big deal.
all right, next item, is information items. I think we were gonna put the
Have we went back to the,
approval,
have we been back to the billboards yet?
well, we were gonna put the approval of additional billboard.
I think he's gonna wrap that all together and do
Yeah.
a presentation on it.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. So in going back to agenda item number 4 on the additional billboard, that will be on page 25 of your packet there, and it's the one from Sam Stokely. It's got the 2 billboard packages there. This was from previous discussion about a request, I believe, for having some better signage coming into town from on southbound 6975. This was a location that was identified. It's actually 2 billboards. The 25 by 40 is both billboards stacked on top, and we can actually have different configurations in working with those, so that we have. We can either use the whole billboard, the whole 25 by 40 as one messaging, or we can split those billboards up into 12 by 25, and there's a sheet here later in the marketing report that shows the one we just submitted that's going south of town here, coming northbound into. What's great about these is splitting these up. We can actually, we've been in talks with co-opting some of the bottoms of these with our dining and some of our other attractions and activities and things like that. And if some of those business owners are willing to put some money into that, we can have more rotational signage out, more seasonal signage out. What's great about these two is, as I just learned this week, is that we can have a static message behind that sign. And that way, as we're rotating out things seasonally, we always have representation of a message we want to have up there. And that's where the other billboard sign is right now. And if you guys will notice, this has been a thing that we've discussed about in marketing and something you'll see in 22 going forward. And that is on page, I think it's right towards the back there, 39. On page 39, you'll notice that billboard content is that we're really focusing on weekend. We're wanting to have people extend stay here, which does mean more dining, more lodging, more tax revenue collected. So these are the types of messages or images and sort of things that we're trying to evoke with these billboards. And if there are any other questions, I think that's roughly about all the info that I may have on billboards.
Yeah, we always have a question, money-wise, how much is it gonna cost?
So the gentleman said that it's $800 per month. That is what our current billboard contract. So he said it would cost the same. Now, as far as the terms, as far as how long that is, that I do not have available. I don't know how long that contract term is for. Janet might be able to default to that.
Usually they go between 2 and 3 years.
And I think we're getting a better rate, if I'm not mistaken, at that because of that duration of time, but I don't have that handy with me, unfortunately.
Are you talking about $800 for both billboards total?
$800 for just the one that is proposed off of South 6975.
He's giving us the same deal that we've got on the one that's inbound, north inbound, right?
So we're looking for a billboard now? I thought we were trying to get rid of some.
You were the one that requested that we find a billboard, Jim.
Didn't we just get, are we still paying for the one out here by Ed F. Davis now?
No, we voted not to carry
Yeah,
that
we
one on.
said that was a terrible
Okay, so now
thing we decided.
we're looking at the second billboard now is what we're looking at?
Jim, you requested that we get prices on additional billboards that were on the other side, which would be the northeast side of Durant, so that it be a southbound route. In other
Yeah,
words,
and
coming in from Tulsa and Atoka.
I understand that, but we had, at least people was asking if we really needed another billboard or not. And that's how come I'm just throwing that question out. Is everybody happy with getting another billboard?
Is this $800 times 2, $1,600?
No, that's for both. So that's in one billboard, which are being quoted here, that 25 by 40. That's in actuality 2 smaller billboards that we've packaged together, and that's where that deal is come into play because we are purchasing both of those, and that gives us more flexibility to message both billboards, if it's something like Magnolia Festival, big time event, big time regional city event, we would probably use both of those versus year round, we may want to incorporate, hey, weekend getaways, come stay, you know, have a weekend trip, or come and check out this new restaurant or something like that. We can have more seasonal, you know, rotational messaging for those types of
Which that
purposes.
costs us each time we change it, how much does that?
It does, and that's where co-opting some of that will help us defray that cost. That's roughly about $1,200, I think, in vinyl and change out. And if we're able to co-opt that second billboard with other restaurants or activities or facilities that are hosting events here in the community, then we're able to defray that cost and keep it close to that $800 a month in just the leasing space itself.
I know at one time, Danny, you was thinking about billboards didn't do that much, and I was just wondering, are you looking at that? Do you think that's a good price too, or?
I think in those locations, I think probably better money spent than some,
Yeah.
yeah.
If we're looking at the location, I think the location is good. I'm really not sold on more billboards. I think our advertising, our collateral materials, which we have, and they've been going really well, with COVID finally to I'm not gonna say an end, because I don't think we'll ever see an end, but people are traveling again. We're beginning to travel with the different shows that we've got, getting more literature out. I really think that looking at doing other types of advertising, and again, I can't stress enough that social media is what we have to focus on. So if we are looking at putting money in, this could be a nice welcome. If we're going to go with a billboard, I think this one is the best one that we can have. I think it's noticeable. I think it also is a nice entry or welcome into our city. But social media is what we have to focus on as we move forward,
Would it be
in my
better
opinion.
to spend the 8 or 10,000 on the billboard or doing something in our social media?
Yeah, we can do that too. I still think,
The
I guess-
billboard will cost
guess-
us approximately $9,600 a year.
yeah,
If we do the $1,200 trade outs, and you do those on a quarterly basis even, then you're adding roughly another 50,000 to it, or not 50, I'm sorry, but another about, that'd be 1,250 times more. It's gonna be about 5,000-6,000 after we get those out. Now, one of the things that we can do is co-op those and we have had interest in that with people coming in and actually purchasing a portion of that board for X amount of time. I would really, if we're going to do that, my suggestion would be to let us try that and see if we have enough interest. We have several marketing plans that we were going to present, and hopefully we will still be allowed to do that. But I feel like in answer to your question, yes, I feel like spending it on digital media is going to be better than what we could do with a billboard. I truly do.
and me personally, I guess me and Greg Massey loves those things every once in a while in specific places, because he's got a lot of them out there for the First United Bank. I think that would be an excellent place. I think the one to the south, when they had Magnolia, I'm sure a lot of people read that from Texas that was going even to the casino. And apparently they had the biggest turnout for Magnolia than you've ever had before, right? 20,000 or so? But
We did, but I don't credit the billboard. I think it helped.
Well,
But I credit the situation, the timing of the event, and
Yeah.
people getting out, wanting to get out at that time.
I think
So I think there's many things that factor into what makes an event successful.
I think that when you have it out there and you put discover.com on there and you show them the different ones, if you have to change it out 3 or 4 times a year, the people are gonna notice that before you get into doing it, and I think it's gonna pull us business for that much. You know, I wouldn't want any more than that one and the other one, but I think you'd be surprised on how much those billboards do it, as long as you put down discover.com, you put down the Magnolia Fest or whatever, it will bring people in, because they're coming down the highway. All these people and my kids underneath 50 years old, they see that, they'll get on that website and they wanna see what's going on. So, you know, I still think those billboards are worth, 2 of them would be worth the money for us to have one north, one south.
So basically, you're looking at probably $30,000 a year
For both.
for two billboards.
Both.
And you may get part of that back.
And we can recoup a
Yeah,
portion
but
of that.
I think they're ineffective if you put too much stuff on there.
Yeah, we did last time.
And
We didn't get to see that sign before coming.
DiscoverDurant.com probably do more than
It does.
anything, just
The one that,
If you happen to notice at the billboard replaced, got a good cue right there, you'll notice that what we put on here was people visually engaging in the activity that they're participating in. The only writing or messaging we have on there is that because weekends are made for fun, Durant, it's that the Discover Durant logo is big as day, and then the little corner on the tag says weekends are made for fun, and then the only point of contact is discoverdurant.com.
And these road signs, if you put discoverdurant.com and a couple more
This is the
things,
next
what it is, it pulls them over to our website.
Well,
They don't have to look, they'll see it on the web, on the sign, and then they'll pick it up.
we were also very cognizant about who our viewer is as well. And when you're in a car trip and you're looking at billboards, it's generally not the driver. And statistical family, it's going to be mom or kids. And so we're trying to also visually show more of families and kids of all ages and backgrounds doing and experiencing things in our community through Discover Durant. And through that channel is allowing us to speak to those people a little more directly.
And usually if it's family, it's mom's gonna get them to stop.
Oh yeah, because kids are your 2-year-old. Somebody mentioned this earlier about their grandchildren knew how to work their iPad better. They're going to tell you where to go and where to buy tickets and how much it costs and all of that stuff. So we need to be speaking to them in these billboards, and I think that'll help us more effectively communicate.
Yeah, those will be used to get us over to Durant.com.
Which, by the way, and I hope this isn't foreshadowing here, but I think this is incredibly. We saw a very unique thing happen here where there's some very good data in a short period of time to show us that what we're doing is working. We had and I'll sort of attract your attention over to this right here, and this will be my last thing that I say before I yield the floor there, unless you guys have any questions. We had a post after the Choctaw powwow that happened this year. And that one post we posted through the Durant Chambers channels because those channels had a bigger platform. They had a bigger foundation, a louder mouthpiece. We leveraged that post with Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma and the Cultural Center as well. And between that one post, we had over a period of 2 weeks, we had over 130,000 people that we reached. That's a lot of people, okay? When we look at our wait period after that, at how much those things kind of resonate, when we go back to our discoverdurant.com, which was the link that we put in that post for people that wanted to understand the culture and everything that happens to Discover Durant, here's where you go. On that website, by more than twice the amount, it's like 2.3 times the amount, the number one thing they searched for on Discover Durant was places to stay. And so from the correlation there is that of this many people that went out there and saw what we had as an event, they're then looking at plans in the future. Where am I going to stay the next time I'm there? And the fact that it was over 2 times the amount of traffic went to places to stay, I think that again shows future planning, future intentions. People got a taste and saw an event that we really liked, and they wanted to know where can they stay when they come back here. And we reached people, there were people from over 23 states and Canada, we got saturation to all of those places. So really, really good numbers, but I just thought that was a very cool correlation to see that as we're showing people what we have going on, they're wanting to know where to stay when they come to see us next time. So I think that's all very good for what tourism's trying to do here. The marketing report here that you have in front of you, we just wanted to very quickly kind of go over what our strategy is. And our strategy it's very simple, tried and true. It's a call to action. And everything that we post, everything that we do, and this is what I love about Discover Durant, in and of itself, that is a call to action. We're wanting them to come discover Durant. So that has been the main strategy of how we've gotten people to see more of our events, see more of our venues and things like that, because we're asking them to do stuff. Very simply, none of it's not always a purchase or an attendance. Some of it's a like or a share. And looking at the numbers there, I went ahead and compiled the previous quarter from June 1 to September 30, and the last quarter, and that's whenever I came on under contract, was on October 1. So from October 1 to December 31, and I'll just give you the sort of comparatives there, people reached in the previous quarter was 17,397 people. Last quarter, people reach is 331,250 people. Our post engagement was 642 in the previous quarter. Our post engagement this last quarter was 32,691 people. And then like, shares, and comments over the previous quarter, 303. And then like, shares, and comments in this quarter was 14,030. I didn't bother putting on percentages there because some of these numbers just sound astronomical, but they really are a couple of insights that we've got here. All efforts to do this so far, 100% organic. We have not done any paid advertising. We haven't done any paid reach. So when we talk about how much further some of that advertising money could take us, it's a long way in what we've just been able to accomplish organically and free here, that if we did put a little bit of money to, we've got enough data now to really target and make the most effective use of that money. Visually appealing content, event participation, this all helped bring people throughout the community and the country. I mean, I think visually we're showing a little better side of our product and people are responding to that. We continue to see an increase in post engagement from both inside Durant and the regional area. Again, our big thing here is because we have more post engagement, we want to leverage that to try to encourage people to extend their stay here. They liked us because they came to a concert. Awesome. Now they followed us because they saw a powwow picture. Great. Now they're spending a weekend here because they found out about all the shopping and boutiques that we have. Like, that's the natural life cycle that we want to progress here, and this is the method or plan of how we're doing it. And then the last part, and this, I cannot stress this enough, leveraging existing partnerships and leveraging the new partnerships that we're doing with some of these events. This dramatically increases our reach and our saturation out there, and it just strengthens our voice. We saw that in the concert series when we started tagging and including Overdrive Entertainment, the local artists and their fan groups. Our exposure and reach grew a lot better, and our attendance from other locations also grew further distance away as well. So this, again, there's just data after data to show that this is a good thing, but it has to work in combination and coordination with some of the established groups that are hosting events or partnering with events, and some of the platforms that we have to share about some of these events to newer groups, and that's through Discover Durant. And that's all I have on the marketing report. I'm not sure on the marketing plan prospectus. That maybe need to hold off because I think there's probably some other discussions that need to take place first. And unless the board has any other questions, I believe that's all the data I have prepared for you guys today.
And the activity report is in the packet, correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay.
We were just wanting to visually kind of tie the dots together on some of the things that we've seen over December, and we got through the holiday season. Now that we're into January, we've seen some of these numbers come to fruition and kind of what they're telling us.
Just one other thing I'll address. I have been doing a lot of research on the peanut to really try to bring people in. We've had one really good meeting with a lot of information from local farmers that were part of that. It's amazing to me, they really didn't know about the actual statue and why it was created, but just learning about the reason that peanut was put up. It's been fascinating. But through that, we also recognize the fact that we're 150 years old as a city this year. So I'm talking to John and the mayor both, and we're looking at trying to create events that will actually help us celebrate those things. But as was alluded to earlier, those are things that we have started working on, and hopefully we'll have things to come in the future.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Wonderful.
I'd like
Thank
to
you
go
very
back-
much.
I'd like to go back to number 4. I'll make a motion to approve the additional billboard southbound on 6975. So I'll make a motion on that. Any discussion?
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All right.
Did Debbie have to leave, or did she have to?
She'll be back in a
I
second.
think it's a good
Okay.
action. Take a break.
Sometimes you have to leave after about 2 hours when you get older.
With your permission, I'll take the roll. With your permission, I'll call Doug. Take the
Oh,
roll.
okay, all right, okay, yeah, okay.
Here she
Ah,
comes.
there's Kevin, okay.
She's fast. If you're at a motel, you gotta be fast. There's always somebody coming in.
We
Right,
need
when
a
you're at a
vote.
motel, you always have to be fast, don't you? You have to come back in.
We need a vote, call for vote on the
Billboard.
Billboard, okay. Was there a motion made?
There was
yes,
motion and
motion and
second.
second.
Charlie.
Okay, yeah.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Chairman Reed? Vice
Yeah.
Chairman? Chairman Shear?
Yes,
Sorry about that, guys.
all right.
Does anybody do the tourism for the Choctaws, or do they?
There's no one on that I'm aware of.
No, okay,
Danny,
marketing tech.
Our attorney is here if we want to readdress item number 1.
We're gonna finish up the peanut capsule time?
See, I just heard her talking about that.
I just gave that.
Hmm?
I
You
even
just
heard
gave it a while
that.
ago, didn't you? Right then, let's go.
Okay, are we done with number 7?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Number 8, new business. All right, our attorney's here. Got a question on minutes. The November 30th regular meeting minutes need to be amended.
Could we get you to come up to the microphone? Thank you.
Charles says that he stated that, table the item until the next regular meeting. And we did not have the regular meeting in December. We had it, a special call meeting. And there's actually 2 questions. How do we had a motion to approve the minutes and it failed. We had a motion to amend the minutes and it failed. How do we go? How do we go forward here?
What needs to be amended? What is it that we want amended and why?
This was on the management contract.
Okay.
With the Chamber of Commerce.
That was tabled in November?
Mhm.
When you table an item, it remains on the agenda until a vote takes place and it's either
Okay.
voted up or down.
Charles says that he said the next regular meeting, okay?
Okay. And the
We-
next, and the next, and the next, so if we didn't
And
have,
we did not have the regular meeting in December.
okay,
This is actually the next regular meeting,
right,
but we called a special meeting
okay.
in December to approve the management contract.
And it was approved then?
It was
Then it doesn't need to
approved
be on here again.
He said,
then. Does that answer your question?
No.
No? Well,
Well, let's let Charles ask the
Oh.
question, since it's his question. What you got, Charles?
You were looking at me, weren't you?
figured you
Now, the question to begin with
Uh-huh.
is the way the item was in November was put on the agenda doesn't meet the requirements of the Open Meeting Act, Oklahoma's Open Meeting Act. It's supposed to be clear enough that someone who has the
Stated with enough
capability of
specificity
reading.
that someone of the general public would understand what the agenda item was about.
Right.
Okay,
And there was no understanding about what that was about, what kind of money we were talking about. And then,
if you want my opinion, I think the agenda item was fine.
well, I brought from the computer,
Okay?
Oklahoma's Open Meeting Act,
Mm-hmm.
And there's several lawsuits mentioned in there along with describing the Open Meeting Act. And what it says is that it needs to be stated, like you said, in such a way that any member of the public that can read, I think the judge even went on to say, have a seventh grade or eighth grade reading capacity, will understand what's going to be done. And there was a ruling in a court where they didn't put the specific thing that they were gonna do down. They were gonna discuss this employee, but they didn't put down there they were gonna give him $30,000 bonus. And the judge wiped the whole thing out and said they'd have to start from beginning. That it was null and void because a member of the public just coming off the street and seeing the notice wouldn't have had any idea what they were gonna discuss and talk about. And that's really the basis of what I'm talking about. I just want us to, we're not doing our agendas as specific as I think we need to.
Okay.
For the public. That's my point.
Do we need to specify dollar amounts when you're talking about approving contracts on the agenda?
No, I mean, it would require you to make an agenda that's
Here's a case that
obscenely
you
long.
might wanna look up. It's, Wilson versus the city of Tecumseh. It happened in 2008. And that's what the judge held, and apparently it's held up since then. There needs to be more specificity in the agenda.
Okay. Do you want me to start reviewing agenda items, or?
No, I think that the team that's been working on our agendas is certainly intelligent enough to do it properly. I just think we need to. I think a lot of the public bodies are not doing their agendas with the specificity that they need to.
Okay.
So, whether I'm for or against the item, it doesn't make any difference. But in order for us to be legal, according to the Oklahoma Open Meeting Act, we need to be more specific in what we do. And there's the agenda for this meeting today. There's at least half of the items on the agenda are not specific enough for someone coming off the street to know what's going on.
What do you want to do about the approval of the minutes?
Well, I think it could be changed.
We can't go back and rewrite the agenda, it already happened.
No, but there can be a new agenda in the future.
Okay.
Are you saying that you want to bring the contract back? Are you saying we didn't approve
I'm
the
saying
contract correctly?
if we do what this judge had them do, and I'm sure if this set of circumstances were to go before the judge would, this case would be mentioned.
Where did you get your, I mean, I'm sure that that case is accurate, but where exactly, because that's not contained in the Open Meetings Act. That would be something separate that was provided by OML or somebody like that.
This is an updated by Sandra Reinhardt, Senior Assistant Attorney General.
Okay, it's an Attorney General's opinion.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she went through the whole, Oklahoma Open Meetings Act. And it's kind of a primer for people that are, trying to conduct public business.
And the one he's talking about had to do with salaries. And, you know, I don't know, like I said, it's your opinion, but I think when you put it, I still think, and I said it at the last meeting, when you put out an agenda and they know that it's $150,000, and when you send it out for bids and nobody else knows, I think it's literally discrimination for.
Absolutely,
Or-
absolutely not. No, the
Because-
bids are not public.
Because if one person knows on what it's gonna be, why don't you put it out in the public on that and say it's gonna be $150,000? I think more people would reply to that.
They might have, but that's not
Now,
the way that we put it
that's a
out.
different question than
Yeah.
what we had here.
Yeah.
I've got a question on that. The RFP that was submitted was
We are
not for an amount.
We are seriously getting into the weeds for things that are not on the agenda.
Oh.
The only other part I would bring up is that when we had the last meeting, Charles, there, this was brought up on the contract. And he mentioned, and he said that, you know, we'll bring this subject up again on the next regular meeting. And instead of bringing it up on the next regular meeting, we brought it up on an emergency meeting,
Special meeting.
right?
Special meeting, not an emergency meeting. There is a massive difference.
So you can,
He's
even
trying-
though you had it for the next
But
regular
we
meeting.
had voted at the previous meeting to do it on the next regular meeting.
We voted to table it.
No. We voted, my motion was to the effect that we were going to table it to the next regular meeting in order that you, our attorney, could work with them in making the contract clearer. This was back in November. We're talking about.
I remember it was in November because there was no regular meeting in December because we were gonna lack a quorum.
Well, we didn't do anything at that meeting. We don't know whether we had a quorum or not.
Well, it was canceled because we weren't going to have a quorum. I do know that. It was canceled because, for lack of a quorum.
So
Well, you
we
can't-
should have
you
waited till
can't
January?
You can't cancel a regular meeting that way. You have to have a 5 working day or 10 working day notice excluding
It's 10 days to reschedule it. We didn't reschedule it.
more than rescheduling. To file or to post the agenda, it's gotta be 10 days excluding weekends and
For what?
holidays.
For what?
What I just said.
No. You have to post the agenda for a regularly scheduled meeting 24 hours in advance. You have to post the agenda for a special meeting 48 hours in advance.
If you change the regular meeting date, which was put in a year before,
We did not change it.
Yeah,
If
we
you,
didn't
if you
even
change
have
it, you do have to do 10 days in advance. That's exactly correct.
if you're not gonna have it, you've got to notice the public that you're not gonna have it.
We did.
I don't think we did it properly. I didn't receive any notice, and I'm a member.
I can't say for sure, but I do think the notice was sent out, and also, I know it was posted at the city hall.
It was posted and I instructed them to, because the things were locked and no one was here.
What did you post?
Cancellation. I didn't see the language of the cancellation. They asked me where to post it because the
Yeah,
board
I
where you
didn't
normally
get,
put it inside was
I
locked.
didn't get anything sent to me on cancellation.
I mean, I don't know if you normally do, but nobody else in the public would. I mean, maybe the members here do, I don't know. but the agendas are posted in conspicuous places around town. Again, we're
Well,
off in
it's
the.
posted here, it's posted on our webpage, and it's posted or by letter to the city clerk and each of the members. That's the way it's posted, the agenda.
The agenda item we're discussing is the approval or non-approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Are we, I mean, I understand
Well,
it's a
the
tie
minute-
vote, which means the minutes are not approved.
The minutes weren't correct.
So what do we do about that? If,
I mean, you can amend the minutes and fix them
motion.
next time.
well, I mean, motion was
Well, that's what,
failed to approve, a motion failed to amend the minutes, so what?
Well,
what do we do
one,
about
it doesn't say anything about regular meeting. It says after they've met with the attorney and discussed the contract, but it doesn't specify a special meeting, next meeting, 2 meetings from now in the minutes. So is that what you're questioning? Is that the question?
doesn't specify what in the minutes.
So they didn't put down what he said about having it at the next regular meeting, right? So it wasn't in the minutes that they put out, right?
I mean, this discussion
handed out
we're
the
having
proposal.
now isn't in the agenda either.
It's already discussed and reviewed. Motion was made by Mr. Calhoun and Mr. Thorpe to table it until a more detailed contract. But it didn't say regular meetings. I don't
If we can't, if we don't approve the minutes, what happens?
I'll have to look it up. I don't know. I've never had minutes not approved.
Never had him
I mean, that's
do
the
that.
flat truth. I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Nothing's official until the minutes are approved, because they can be changed.
So was this whole meeting not official then? Just 2.5 hour?
No, this,
Oh, it was okay to do, okay.
it just means we didn't approve the minutes from.
Okay.
We've
We
done
were
it
unsure
before,
of that.
that's what I told you before.
Okay,
No.
is the contract null and void then?
No.
We have it a couple times before you got it.
Oh, maybe before I got
Did everybody hear that?
on. Oh, no.
The contract is not null and void. He asked me specifically, is the
Oh.
contract null and void? No.
And that's not my question.
Okay.
So you'll check it out and get back with us, right?
Yeah.
Jason, just one other question, and I have another meeting that I have got to leave for. Well, you said you didn't know, so it's not gonna ask, you've never had minutes not approved.
Right.
Okay.
If we take no action, then it just goes away, right? If we table it, then we have to take action.
Eventually, minutes have to be approved for that meeting,
But
one
then
way or another, either amended or as they stand. I mean,
Today's meeting, and you may have asked this a while ago, is that null and void?
no,
Is
this
everything-
meeting went
no.
forward just exactly
Yeah.
like it was supposed
Okay.
to. It's just that
Okay.
that one agenda item, the approval of the previous
contract
minutes did not
can't be
pass.
null and void.
We've
We
done
don't
it
have a
before in the last
contract.
2 or 3 years.
We haven't
This is
voted
not
on
the
it.
first time we've done this.
Yes, we do have a contract.
We
We have
wanna
a
ask
contract with two
again
signatures on it.
for a motion to amend the minutes?
Well, see, we tried that and
Takes
that's
more
what
than two
failed.
signatures.
He's gonna check on it and
If
get
you'll
back
read
with
the
us.
way
We tried to
that
just
we
test
wrote
If
up
the
that
minutes are amended to
included
include
the people vote.
the next regular meeting, does that change anything that the contract that
Or
we did
just the
at the
next
special meeting?
meeting, not regular meeting or special meeting.
The next meeting.
But they don't even say that at the next meeting in the original minutes.
He was saying it was gonna be done at the next regular meeting.
But that's not in the minutes. And that's what he's wanting to amend. That's what I have a question about. I'm confused. Because it doesn't say that in the minutes. So if we're going to amend it, it didn't say when we.
Well, we don't have any minutes right now.
Well, I
Well-
know, but in the original minutes, it
I'll put
doesn't say
I'll put it this
when.
way, he can go back on the recordings of that day and specifically tell you, and you can look back on them too, and say, and he'll tell you exactly what you said.
I know what I said, we discussed it.
So it's in the
So
recordings.
Okay, I'll review the recording of the November minutes,
Okay.
of the November meeting, and see exactly what the motion was.
But I mean, all we have to do is go back and put it on another agenda properly.
So do we just wait till the next meeting to try to get these minutes approved, or is that too long?
Nope.
No, it's not too long.
All right. Any other business needed?
Let me ask you another question during this time. And I think, you know, we had Tom Markham when we first started off.
Right.
And he was telling me I couldn't deviate from the meeting because you gotta stay on course. Also said that if anybody is on this council, on this trust board, and they are, employed by something that comes up like a contract, that the person that comes up, they can't vote because you gotta abstain, right?
Right.
But they also can't comment on anything that's going on at that time, right?
They're not allowed to engage in the debate.
They can't engage, can they? That's what I think that's what he said.
I would be shocked if that were true. I mean,
They can
yeah,
engage in the debate even though,
As a
It has to do
member,
with
as a
them.
member of this board,
or a member of the public.
well, if they were a member of the public, but they can't be a member of the board. I
Well, they're-
mean, we could all vote ourselves a bunch of stuff in if we could do that. And I know you can't.
Well, that's
do
why
it.
she abstained. I mean, I understand the requirement that you abstain, but to not be able to engage in the debate,
yeah,
I
I
think
just
is.
didn't know, you know, I think, he said something about it, I might be wrong, but I'm just saying, you know, apparently they maybe couldn't, you know, say anything during that. But you're saying they can speak up, even if it has to do with them or their person they're working for, right?
I would say so.
What-
I mean,
what-
she could just get up out of her chair and come stand over here knowing she's not gonna vote and talk about it. I think Jennifer actually represented the chamber at that for most purposes, but. And an abstention is counted as a no vote, when it comes to counting votes.
That's how can we come and ask you?
Okay.
And I think it's different when somebody gets up from up here and goes down there and is speaking during the conversation about whatever it is. And they say they're not gonna vote. It's different from them speaking down there than from up here with the board. I agree with what you said.
That's why you was hired.
Any more?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I
That
second
little girl needs to go home.
Yes, she does.
Thanks, Chief.
I got another meeting.
Trustee Anthony,
Yeah.
yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe? Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes.
Too old to
Oklahoma is the city